stuff on a horse.
You can do a lot of stuff on a horse.
You can do a lot of stuff on a horse.
Like what?
Well, you can tandem ride it for one. Both of you can be on the same horse.
Yeah.
You can race it.
Okay.
You, for one, it's great for your hip flexors. You open up your hips.
Mm-hmm.
People who ride horses, their hips they're so open. A lot of women who give natural births are also people who ride horses.
That's a fact.
I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure because of the way that the horse's back is, the way that a woman's legs and hips open up over it, it gets those hip flexors open and loose and lubricated, and it really lets that baby kind of zero in on where it needs to go out.
And when you say natural birth, what do you mean?
Well, people who give births on horses. Because sometimes it's easier to do it on a horse because there's a lot of movement and, your feet are in what are those things?
Stirrups.
Your feet are in the stirrups, which is actually what you'll notice that in hospitals. Mm-hmm. When a woman is giving a birth in a natural way in a hospital, they put her feet in stirrups.
And when you say natural way.
In an unnatural way in a hospital.
In an unnatural
way. In a hospital is unnatural.
Got it.
Because it's unnatural. It's not how women used to give birth.
They used to give them on horses?
In their houses, sometimes even on the side of the trail.
Okay, so a natural birth for you is anything outside of a hospital?
Anything on the side of a trail.
Okay.
Anything
nature.
Outside.
Outdoors is natural birth.
Outside with...
What if you're in a cabin?
Are you renting it or is it your cabin?
It's your cabin.
Yeah, if there's no doctors there, that's a natural birth.
So a natural birth...
it's either outdoors or in a cabin.
Okay, and it means there's no doctors.
No doctors and there's a horse involved.
What if your husband's a doctor?
He can't be there. That isn't a natural birth.
So that no longer constitutes a natural birth.
Well, he would have to see it from afar. Maybe he's on a separate horse and he's riding alongside as she's giving birth to the baby.
Okay.
Maybe he even tries to catch the baby as it comes out. And maybe he clips the cord. And once he clips the cord, then he can speak to his wife. Or his baby mama. The mother of the child.
Okay, so riding horses is good for birth.
Well, it's good for your hips and good for birth.
For your hips.
Yeah. Yep, it is. And that's just information for you. And I don't think a lot of people know about that. They don't really even talk to nobody. That's the thing is nobody explains why the hospital has stirrups, and people just assume it came from the hospital. It came from the idea of the hospital. But the idea originated from, it's no different than Henry Ford building a Model T.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he took something that was being used for one thing and made it resourceful in a better way.
Got it.
So, the hospitals and the nurses, people, they took the stirrups from the horse and brought it into the hospital to kind of really give their services a kind of a better, what would be the word you would use? A better...
I'm not really sure where you're
going. Well, they're bringing the stirrups in to give the patients a better experience.
Okay. It's about comfort.
Comfort and delivery, really.
Well, they have these stirrups, as you call them, in gynecology offices.
In the gynos, they do. Same reason, it opens things up.
Well, it's some place to put your feet.
It's a place to put your feet, but also it's really a button to the gateway.
What do you mean a button to the gateway? What does that even mean?
Well, it's as soon as you put your feet in the stirrups, it's almost like there was a button that was pressed that opens up the gate. And by the gate, I mean vagina. So there's no confusion.
Well, a lady's knees can still go inward.
And you're supposed to do that in yoga? So you're saying that she can close her knees. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is you want to have your hips. That's not how you use the stirrups, though. You don't ride a horse with your knees together. So you wouldn't ever get in hospital stirrups the same way.
Well, what if you're riding side saddle and then you might ride with your knees together?
Are you riding side saddle?
I've never done it, no, but I've always. It's interesting.
Okay, well, first of all, they don't let people. Is it a 2-person ride?
Side saddle? I don't know.
Side saddle is when it's just one person on one side.
Yeah, they used to ride side saddle. Way back.
Yeah,
in the
you
day.
have one foot on one side. It's easier to
No,
jump.
they're both on the same side.
On the same side,
It's
right?
because like ladies would wear like their dresses and stuff, and then so the saddle was specifically set up for like your,
Gotcha.
it kept your
This
legs
is before
like this
they realized it helped with giving birth and stuff.
What helped
The
with
side saddle.
the side saddle?
You said it was for women,
Who wore dresses?
right? Well, women
Because
also.
it would be like men would wear
A lot of times, women will just
pants, and then they would get the regular saddles, and then women wore like dresses and
had the side saddle.
side saddles, so that
I just always assumed women were, because of kind of what I was talking about. I feel like maybe the side saddle didn't last long because I feel like maybe most women ended up just going kind of full on over the horse with their legs. And they just kind of had the dress go over the horse, and in a way is kind of dressing the horse.
Yeah, I think it was during a long period of time when there was, it was about modesty.
And there were no phones back then too, probably.
I'm sure somebody still rides side saddle. I mean, you can buy those saddles.
Now, are they letting you ride side saddle in the gynecology room?
Come again?
Are they letting you ride side saddle in the gynecology room?
Are you talking about the stirrups?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, how do you normally ride when you're in there?
There's no riding. You just lie down on the bed and you put a heel in each
Stirrup.
If you want to call them that.
Now, do you have spurs?
No.
Okay. Well, those, I actually used to have those as a kid. When I was a little kid, I had them, and I had them on my cowboy boots. I had silver snakeskin boots, and I had stirrups on them.
I also had stirrups. I also had spurs.
Well, you were a little horse gal.
Yeah.
And that, if anything, it just gives me confidence that we're going to have, whenever the time comes, that we're going to have such a smooth pregnancy because of all the horse riding that you've done as a young woman.
For the record, I don't know how I feel about spurs anymore.
Well, you don't have to wear them. All I can hold on to them because I'm not a doctor. I can be in the room.
Okay, great.
Because I'd even double down on spurs. That's one thing. You know what? I'm thinking about it now. In all of those Western movies, whenever the guy comes into the bar and makes his entrance, they always show the spurs first, his boots walking, and the spurs clicking, and then they kind of go and they'll show his gun and maybe his holster, and then they'll go in and it's like his face or something. The way the camera moves, it goes kind of from the ground up.
Yeah.
You never see guys with multiple spurs.
Yeah, well, you don't need them.
But why wouldn't you?
Why would you?
Why? Okay, well, here's my question: is why do you need to have two guns when you really only need one?
Well, if somebody has two guns, it seems like they probably want to be able to get to the second gun pretty quickly.
Exactly.
Or do more damage.
You see a guy with two spurs, it's going to be like a guy who really knows how to get a horse going. I don't know. I just think that if I were a cowboy, and granted, this is just an ego comment. This is an ego comment. This is completely. This is not out of my my true organic self. Mm-hmm. But if I were a cowboy back in the days, I mean, if I had been in a previous life, maybe even, or if after this life, I go back and do it then, I would be the person who would have maybe 2 or 3 spurs.
Where are the other spurs going?
They're right. They're just stacked up on top.
No, but okay. So you've got your boot.
Yep.
You've got a heel here.
Yep.
Right about here is where the
Achilles tendon.
The boot's going to start getting softer than going up into the rest of your calf.
Yep.
You've got about this much space for your spurs.
Yeah.
And that's about the size of a
spur?
Yeah.
I've seen they're like little like kind of little stars almost.
Little stars. Spurs go like this. They wrap around your boot.
Yep.
And then they stick out here.
And they got a little.
Sometimes the little rolling.
Little roller thing.
Yeah.
You do it on your face sometimes. It's like that.
That's different.
Okay, but it's similar in a way.
But yeah, that's more of like a Western spur. There's also really simple spurs that just
Have a pokey?
Yeah.
See, that's not the kind of spur I would roll with.
But either way, what I'm saying is you've got this much space for your spur.
Yeah.
So you're going to stack them. Which way are they going?
I would have them go all the way up the back of the boot.
Yeah, that's not going to, that's not how your boots work.
I know that's not how boots work, but I'm saying that what I'm saying is if I were to go back in time and I were to be a cowboy back in the olden days, I would have the spurs go all the way up the boot.
People would laugh at you.
And I would shoot those people.
And they would shoot you too.
And then it would be done. And that would be it. But I would be known as a guy, they'd call him Old Spurs.
Yeah, until he died because he started shooting the town up. And then
he just shot the town up? Why did he do that?
Because we were laughing at him because he looked like an idiot.
Oh, wow. You weren't just letting a person be an expressive individual and letting them kind of be the cowboy that they've always dreamed and thought that they would be? You guys are just ridiculing them and making fun of them? That sounds like you guys are really kind of closed-minded people.
Yeah, well, we're in, the year whatever, a long time ago.
So what?
Yeah, well, we're pretty closed-minded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? I bet you guys don't have any gays around here or what?
I don't know. What does that mean? Happy?
See, what? Yeah, right now it means happy. We're in these olden times.
Yeah, we've got happy people around here. The ones that have food.
Look, I just want to be able to express myself in my spurs without being ridiculed and being shot at.
Well, you're not welcome in this town.
Okay, well then I'm going to go across the way. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, you're not welcome.
God, you guys are jerks.
I don't even know what that word means.
Oh gosh, okay, you were really in it there. Oh, wow. Yeah, they didn't have jerks back then. Mm-mm. What did they call people? What did they call people back in? Besides, probably honky tonk Sue or whatever.
I don't even think they use the word honky tonk Sue.
They used honky tonk, or maybe Sue is just a Johnny Cash song I threw in there.
Yeah, I think honky tonk is more recent than
it probably is.
Old West.
Probably is. It probably is more recent.
Well, what is the year of the Old West? What years when everybody went out west? What years was that? What years
was it before? It was after Jesus.
It was after Jesus for sure.
So Jesus died in he basically died at the year 0, right?
Yeah, lived and died, yeah.
He lived and died at 0, and then we started keeping track of time, which is kind of crazy. You thought that we would anyway, so when I think it was probably in the I want to say late 1800s. Before that?
We're about to find out. The internet connection seems a little slow.
This is not good for the podcast and not good for the listeners. Kind of 15 minutes into the podcast, this is not good.
Yeah. Looks like, the American frontier.
That's really what I'm concerned about, the Americans.
Also known as the Old West or the Wild West.
The Wild West, yeah. When was that?
It is a wave of American expansion that began with European colonial settlements in the early 17th century, so we're thinking that's 1600s.
Jeez.
And ended with the admission of the last few Western territories or states in 1912.
What states were those? Are they still around?
You want me to?
No, that's fine. No, that was a big chunk of information. And let's just kind of let that marinate for a second. So you said 17th century?
Yep.
So 17th century is 1600?
Yeah.
Why is it not 1700?
Well, you got to think about it.
I'm trying to.
So we can go back to when Jesus lived and died, right?
Which was at 0.
0.
Which is kind of like selfish, no?
What do you mean what's selfish?
Time really starts when I decide.
How is it selfish? I don't think he had anything to do with.
So why is it, I guess,
record.
Why is it, I guess, and this is just, we don't even have to stay on this topic long, but why is it that we decide time before Christ and after Christ, and then it kind of goes into the century part?
Well, that came about. I mean, it's not, now it's not, it's now people say BCE, which is before the Common Era. BCE.
Is that like kind of the PC way to say it? Politically correct is what I mean by PC.
Sure, maybe.
Got it.
Yeah, just
so
that's the way you say it. BCE.
But it used to stand for before Christ.
Yeah.
But now it's been changed.
Before the Common Era.
And this is just because of everybody having different religions and different beliefs. Is that correct?
I'm going to say, that's my guess.
That's what would be my guess. I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
So back to the centuries. Mm-hmm. So Jesus lives and dies.
And this is all around the
just
0
say,
time?
Yes, say it's
Sub-zero.
0. Sub-zero if you'd like to say that. Sub-zero would be kind of in the AD.
Well, it's a little colder.
The BC.
A little colder temperature. What do you mean?
Right. I mean, sub-zero would be going back further.
You're right.
let's just stick with your first
normal zero.
Okay. So then you've got, year 10, year 20, year 100,
This
right?
is 100 years after he's passed.
100 years after. We now are going from 100 to 200. We're going to be in the 2nd century, right?
That's the 2nd century.
That's the second. Year 100
is the first.
So we have 0.
Yep.
Going up, 100.
Yep.
Going up, 200.
Mm-hmm.
What's this here?
1.
This was the first 100 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So by the time you get to 100 and you're going into this, you're now in the second 100 years. So you're in the 2nd century when you're saying year 135.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, wow. And that just really clicked for me.
Yeah. Was it the hands?
The hands helped, and then the part where you said it was then and some, basically.
Then and some? I said that?
Then and some. You didn't say that exact statement of words, but you had basically said it's this and some. So basically, 100 and some.
Yeah.
That I understand for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
but it is I have to think about it.
It's weird.
I like when I hear 16th century, I have to think, okay, no, this is the 1500s.
Right. Because then as soon as you get to 1601, that's 17th century.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What a complicated way to keep track of time.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a bunch of math.
Yeah. But I mean, numbers, right? Time, numbers.
You could say that again. All. Time and numbers and math.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hear you.
Gosh, how did we? What were even?
I don't even know, but this is just.
I don't know how
it's just it's what happens when you have chemistry, when you have connection, and when you have just something to talk about and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I do know.
Drinking my Celsius here.
Oh, you didn't get a yerba mate?
I got a Celsius today.
Because Jonah Hill drinks them?
Jonah Hill drinks these. Jonah Hill drinks them, and don't even know the guy. And he drinks them.
I saw him.
Did you?
Going into a house in Santa Monica one time.
Did you really?
Yeah.
When was that?
Years ago. I was driving.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You look like he was having a good time?
Everything seemed fine. Yeah,
he seems like a guy who just has a fine time, just has a good time. Fine and good, both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he talked about these things, and I ended up trying them out. I tried this out. It's a Celsius. Basically, it's like a little 12-ounce sparkling. Well, this one's sparkling. Essential energy thing. It's just a booster.
It just sounds like you're doing an advertisement.
I'm not. You're right, and I'm not. And I just want to say that in no way is Celsius sponsoring this podcast. We clearly don't have nearly enough downloads for them to do that, but the stuff is packed with caffeine, and it gets me going. Not in a sexual way.
And you do need your caffeine.
It seems like I need caffeine to kind of clear away the dark, stormy cloud that's been looming above my waters.
I couldn't agree more.
But it feels good. I mean, the Celsius is kicking in. There's no sugar, no preservatives, and it is just under $3. And then again, I'm just letting you guys know that I am in no way sponsoring Celsius. Live fit. Live fit, live free. There's no way that I'm doing that. Not sponsoring, and they're not sponsoring. And I mean, granted, if they are wanting...
Neither of you are sponsoring
We're not sponsoring each other, and if they were wanting to sponsor the podcast, that would just be something we need to discuss in email. So... yeah, so that's it. So basically, that's what I'm drinking here, and I'm feeling good.
Good.
Yeah, so everything is good. You know,
I stopped drinking caffeine a while ago, as you know, and I'm quite happy with that decision.
But yes, you are.
And you just need to. You just have to adapt. Once you adapt, and then
to just always being tired.
I'm not always tired.
You're not, but you do say every single day, "Oh man, I'm so tired."
But I guarantee that a large majority of people who are drinking caffeine also say that every day, and then they go get another cup of coffee.
I don't know.
Yeah.
all I need right now is, and granted, they're not sponsoring the podcast, but all I need is 1 Celsius. 1 Celsius, sparkling orange, live fit, live free.
Okay.
And that's really all you need to be free. You're always tired. You know that. You're constantly walking around here like you're in a half asleep.
I have a lot on my plate.
You do have a lot on your plate, and a lot of that is sleep. But because you're tired. You don't have a lot of it on your plate because you just have a lot of tired on your plate. I wouldn't say sleep because that would mean you're doing a lot of sleeping. You're not doing a lot of sleeping.
No.
You're doing a lot of heavy educational lifting for the podcast because you decided to go back to school basically full time for the podcast. So you're going to bring all this juicy information for our listeners.
Oh, yeah. Today won't be that sort of information at all.
It's
not a disappointment.
It's not going to be a disappointment. Today is a big day. Oh, big day today. Here is, just a thing I want to talk about. Okay. I was thinking that, was talking to some friends earlier today, and they told me that I was not allowed to say gypsy anymore.
They did. They sure did.
They told me that I wasn't allowed to say gypsy. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing that you couldn't say anymore. Mm-hmm. I certainly wasn't meaning anything bad by it. I think a lot of people,
and I do think, to be fair to you, context is important.
Context is always important.
You didn't mean to say anything.
I wasn't saying anything in a negative way. I wasn't saying anything mean. I was simply talking about gypsies.
Yeah, I don't even remember what
I don't even remember. But here's the thing that I want to say is that I think that a lot of times we're thinking that the word people using gypsy is a negative connotation to it. Uh-huh. People using it in a people think they're using it in a negative way. Mm-hmm. I kind of think it the opposite.
You think it's a positive?
I think it's a positive. Because here's what I know. Mm-hmm. Well, for one, it's ultimately a gypsy is really a person who wanders. Really, it's like that's just really what it actually means.
Okay,
it's a wandering person, and granted, yes, they used to they were very good at I guess you could call it thieving and stuff, but. Ultimately, what I'm saying here and now is that I don't think that we need to, kind of be cautious with our way of saying it because I think it's a positive thing, and a positive thing in the way of if someone's being a gypsy, that
how so? How are they being a gypsy?
Well, maybe they're wandering around.
Just wandering.
Just wandering around.
Okay.
Maybe they're a traveler. Maybe they just barter. Maybe they don't have actual money. Maybe they're just kind of doing more of a trade program.
Oh, like at Burning Man.
Kind of like a Burning Man kind of experience, mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, I worked with a guy, actually. His name was Brendan.
Okay.
Very much enjoy him. He referred to himself as a gypsy. And he was he's a burner, big time burner, and I'm a big fan of that kind of thing. And
yeah.
I haven't made it out, but I would like to go. But I just ultimately this is what I mean. If someone's saying, "Oh, I got gypped," I don't know that that's a bad thing to say, because what that's saying is, oh, I successfully had something taken from me.
Or they successfully took it.
Exactly.
From me.
I don't think that's bad because that's what a gypsy is known for.
They got me good.
They got me good. What I'm saying is gypsies are known for that's what they do. They travel and they thieve and they I don't know, this is probably cancelable, but I'm not trying to say that's all they do. I know some of them probably make art and maybe a lot of them farm or they even go to the grocery store and stuff. But what I'm saying is I think we need to make it a positive thing, because that's what they have. If you're being, okay, well, look, I'm trying to not be canceled and also get my point across. Mm-hmm. Here's what you never hear. You never hear someone say, "Oh, I almost got gypped." I've never heard that. I've only ever heard, oh, they gypped me. They got me good. That's a good thing. You wouldn't want someone to almost get gypped because then it's like, it's not giving the gypsy the service.
Mm-hmm. So they're skilled.
They're very skilled is what I'm saying. They're very skilled at being able to steal spoons, like spoons and I say spoons specifically because I used to work in a cafe, and this is years ago, and we had 2 gypsies, and they were from, I don't want to say they're from Romania, but they had that esque to them.
Okay.
They would come in every day, every morning at the same time, and they would steal all the spoons in our place. And I don't mean they would be going up to people's tables and stealing the spoons, but we would have worked in a cafe. You have a thing for all the forks, a thing for all the spoons and things. They would take all the spoons every day. And
just the spoons?
Just the spoons. Nothing else. Just spoons. So then we had to start, every time you would see them start to walk into the building, you would need to remove all of the spoons and hide them. And then they would even linger, and they'd wait for you to put the spoons back out.
Why don't you just let people ask for spoons or just give them out with each meal?
Well, it's a very busy cafe, and that's when you're in the heat of battle and you're serving so many hungry people who need things. It's just that's what we ended up doing, but it's kind of difficult.
Yeah,
So I ultimately I know it's a long-winded statement of just me simply saying that I would think it would be an honor to be gypsied. I think it would be an honor to be gypped. And I think that we need to change our perspective on it. I think the cancel culture is kind of taking away these words and these trades, skilled trades, and kind of making them to where they're not okay anymore. But they were okay. You know what? If
a good thief in a movie is all. I always root for them. They always seem pretty cool.
They are to be able to successfully thieve.
But the ones that are like, like the ones that are really skilled at it.
Oh, yeah, where
like
they can be like, hey, how you doing? And they can
007.
take your wallet and they have your watch at the same time.
Yeah, like...
that, I'm rooting for those guys all the time.
Yeah, those are really cool.
So that's what I mean. I think that is there's something to that where we need to not kill it off. It needs to be amped up.
Amp it up.
We need to amp up the gypping. We need to amp up the gypsy love.
You're saying the gypsy
all
love.
Of it.
Okay.
The gypsy love, we need to amp up if things have been taken. You've been gypped. They got me. They got me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Say it with a smile.
They are good.
Yeah.
God, I love you guys, but you frustrate me.
Because your stuff's taken.
Because my stuff's gone.
Got it.
But God, you're so good at it. How could I be mad at you? How could I want to call you anything other than what you are? Do you know? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like that Eminem song.
I don't know which one, but I love Eminem.
I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then
why would you say I am? Oh, I fucking love that song. It's just like that. And right now, I'm picturing 100 gypsies singing that song.
Yeah.
At an Eminem concert.
Wow.
And right now, they don't even have any electrical equipment because it's all been stolen.
By who?
The gypsies. That's all I want to say. I think, and here's the thing. I'm not trying to be one of those edgy podcasts. I'm not an edgy podcast, but there's a place where I draw the line, and I'm drawing a line right now, and it's in wet concrete. It's not in sand, which means in about 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
That's all it takes?
To kind of settle.
Oh, I thought it was longer.
I mean, you don't want to touch it really for a full day, but I mean, 8 hours, you're not going to move too much around. It's a fast acting concrete. Concrete is very fast acting.
Oh.
I made a lot of driveways in my day.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've poured some crete.
Wow.
And you can ask my dad about that.
I'll just trust you on it.
Well, I'd like you to ask him about it. It's times, I was growing up and stuff, and I think it's good for you to talk to my dad, and you guys kind of have a bond, and he's very important to me and special. So.
Yeah, I know that. Well, I'll give him a call.
Okay. Well, that would be nice.
I have a story of my own. I was in Romania, and
did you see any?
Well, when I decided where were we? We were in
Well, you just said it.
I don't remember where in Romania we were
It's
staying.
just Romania. It's one place.
No, I don't know. I can't remember which city.
Oh, there's a city.
Yeah. I want to say.
Is it Rome?
No, that's not in.
Well, you could see where I got that, though.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do I want to say I was in Bucharest, but now suddenly I'm like, is that even a city in Romania?
I think Bucharest is where you were because that sounds familiar.
Does it?
Yeah, you were there with our pal Jay Bradley.
Yeah.
We were just talking about him on the previous podcast.
Yeah, we were
with
shooting,
a holotropic breathwork. You were shooting something for Showtime?
It is. Yeah, we were in Bucharest. And
you were shooting something for, was it for
it was for
Cinemax?
HBO Cinemax.
HBO Cinemax.
I like to say the HBO first.
HBO Cinemax. Yeah, it was that was right before they got into softcore porn. Right after.
Right after.
Oh, right on.
It was but anyway, that's a whole other thing for another episode.
And an episode worth downloading. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. But the Romanians there, when a group of us decided to go, we wanted to go hop on the train, went to the train station. We wanted to go see, we had a day off and wanted to go to Transylvania.
Oh, why wouldn't you want to? It's a special place.
Very cool place.
Yeah.
And shoot, maybe I'll talk about Transylvania one of these times.
I mean, you could talk about that now.
Yeah, I don't.
That's fine.
I don't remember that much. It was really cool.
Cool. Well, right on. I think our listeners are fulfilled. Continue.
But we were warned by other Romanians. So in Romania, there's no middle class. There's like people with money and then people who are like
Gypsies.
Dirt poor.
Oh, got it.
Living. So as we're like on the train, you can see them. They're living in shacks.
Really?
Literally like the kind of like transportation by a donkey sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
I mean, in shacks.
I guess I don't picture Romania being shack-like. I don't see them having a lot of shanties.
Well, that's like out on the
rural areas?
Yeah, like
shanty towns and
when
stuff.
we're on the train and traveling.
Got it. Okay, you're passing through the shants.
But when we were leaving the train station, or when we were heading to the train station, the people at the hotel, the Romanians that worked at the hotel, had warned us about a lot of thievery.
Gypsies.
They said to watch out for the children.
Is that what they call that?
That the kids will surround you and take your stuff. And that's pretty crazy. You know, I mean, that level of desperation is also really devastating. You know?
Think also that's just crazy too, because you know that those kids' parents were like, look, you got to bring home something because we got nothing for food.
Yeah, exactly.
So go out and do some work. Yeah.
And when I'm at the train station, there was a moment where I get surrounded by kids.
No kidding.
Yeah. And they're all speaking to each other in their own language, you know, so I don't know what they're saying.
Like but code? Or are they speaking Romanian? What do they speak over there?
Yeah.
And Romanian is not like...
it's actually a similar language. It's
so like Dracula, right? It's like English.
It's one of the romantic languages, actually, like Italian and French and Spanish.
Oh, wow. Okay. So is it... I just imagine it's like this, lots of like blood. I don't know why I associate it with vampire talk. Why do I associate with vampire talk?
Oh, well, that's because that's where Vlad the Impaler story comes from, is Transylvania.
Who's this Vlad the Impaler? Sounds like a Russian
that's the stabber. That's the vampire. That's like the story.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well we'll talk about that. I'm not prepared for that
That's
information,
fine,
so we'll talk about that on a different podcast.
So you're surrounded by kids.
I'm surrounded by kids.
They're speaking different languages.
And one of the people I'm with is like, hold on to your stuff. Like, we're at the train station. It's packed with people. By the way, you go into the bathroom, you get one square of toilet paper by a woman who's passing it out.
No way.
Yeah, and you give her money for your square.
You can't just have free toilet paper over there?
No, and then when you go, it's like a hole in the ground, but you pay money if you want your square.
So you go to the bathroom in a hole in the ground?
I mean, yeah, basically.
I'll be honest. I don't know why anyone would want to go to this country.
Well, we'll get there in a second. But
and no disrespect.
So So the person I'm with tells me to hold on to my stuff. I just have my bag like held down, and it's not so obvious that they're like trying to grab it from me. They're just surrounding me and closing in and talking to each other very loud, and the whole train station is very busy. And so we just hold tightly onto our stuff, and then they moved on.
To be honest, if one of them stole something from me, I would take one of those kids. I would take one and I would hold it for.
I would take the kid too if it wanted to come with me. You know, I would like a child.
If we were going to take in a child, that would be the only type of child I would take in, a gypsy. And I say that because because
you have mad respect.
Mad respect. Mad respect.
Yeah. Well, you know, I really like that Lupin, the French show, and he's like a gentleman burglar.
That's
like,
right.
He's like super good at all kinds of thievery.
Yeah.
And I do find that very attractive.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because here's something I do want to say, that I definitely had some moments of thievery in my day.
Oh yeah.
And does that turn you on a little?
Well, how did you do it?
So my good buddy growing up, James Browning, who lives over in Germany, actually. I don't know where over there, but anyway, so he and I used to do this, and I probably shouldn't have said his last name because I'm not even trying to incriminate him, and God bless him.
And that maybe you'll just beep it out.
Maybe, but also maybe not, because just respect to us for being just.
Maybe ask him.
I'll ask him. Maybe I'll ask him. But we used to we would steal clothes and stuff. We would go and like, there was this great thrift store called Value Village.
You're stealing from a thrift store?
Well, true gypsy inspired, to be honest. Very true. Yeah. Well, you'd go in there because you'd find great clothes that have been semi-used, but also, are now vintage looking or whatever. And you'd just basically go try them on, and then you'd put your other pants on over them. And then you would just wear out as many pants as you could in one sitting. You just walk out. And then we did this at like and so
that one's not that attractive of a story.
It's not? Okay, well, let me try this other one.
Okay.
So this one time I went into the Spokane Valley Mall, and I had my eyes set on some new jeans from JCPenney's. Mm-hmm. And I went into JCPenney's and I tried on the jeans, and I did the same way that I used to do it at the Value Village. Mm-hmm. And I just walked on out, and I did that.
So it's essentially the same.
Essentially the same, but a different place and a place of higher stakes.
No.
So what would I need to steal from someone or something that would be in a way that would kind of get you juiced up a little bit?
Okay, so you and your friend
James,
JB,
and you know what? We would call him JB sometimes.
Okay, so you and JB,
James fucking Browning sometimes too, also, and that's just a close circle of friends.
Okay, maybe one of you have your eye on this guy, and he always carries this briefcase. You know that there's some expensive stuff in the briefcase.
Okay, yeah.
One of you waits there in the little quarter, the area where,
like a courtyard. Are you saying courtyard? Are you saying quarter or courtyard? Because a quarter is small.
Yeah, but it could also be like.
But it is the largest coin, aside from the 50-cent piece and the dollar coin.
Okay, so
so we see old man.
It doesn't. His age doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So, you know that he's got. So maybe he carries a lot of cash in there.
Okay.
And you're waiting for him.
Okay.
All right. One of you is sort of just sitting there reading a paper.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he passes through the park. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You're sitting there reading the paper,
and
the other one of you is a.
This is James, or is this me?
It's whatever. Probably not you because your hip hurts right now. So I would. You should probably be the one that's.
Yeah, I should be reading, and it should be James. He probably has stronger legs.
So he comes running, and he bumps into the guy, and both of them fall. But now James grabs the briefcase and runs off. You run up to the man, and you say, "Oh my God, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get this from you." And the man's like, "Thank you so much." And you run off. You disappear. You and James meet behind the corner. Mm-hmm. You go through the briefcase really quick. Take what you want. Good. You walk back
Fucking got it for you, man.
I got it.
I got a bum
Here you
hip,
go.
dude. I don't know how I even was able to catch up to the guy.
And boom, that's what I'm talking about.
So that's okay.
That
because
kind
I
of
can
thievery. That sort of planned out.
And that really kind of makes me want to do something like that. It does. Thinking about doing that right now, it gets my adrenaline going a little bit.
Well, that's just that caffeinated beverage you're drinking.
Well, the caffeine for sure is set in, and it is so strong. But what I do want to say is that would be so fun to try to orchestrate some sort of, was this guy a good person, the guy with the briefcase, or is this kind of a bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are good and some of them are bad.
Because I'm always a justice seeker.
Yeah, you want to go after the bad guys.
I think it would be, and they don't even have to be deemed bad, but like, you know what I mean? Someone who maybe they're like, oh, maybe society seems like, oh no, they're a good person, but really they got some skeletons in their closet.
Yeah.
I think that would be the kind of thing I would like to do.
Like maybe the guy's in finance and he's screwed over a few people to get to
Oh,
where he
I'd
is.
love to fucking take that guy's briefcase.
Okay.
Or have James take his briefcase and then me kind of go.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was talking about.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever done anything like that. No. I definitely knew people who were like some kids who were more into that kind of thieving, like robbing people and stuff. I definitely, No Doubt. Shouts out to you. He robbed a lot of people. His name was No Doubt. He go by No Doubt.
Oh, got it.
He was this ginger kid growing up, and he'd hang out at the skate park a lot, and I don't even know that he had parents, and if he did have them, they basically were the worst. Mm-hmm. But I can't even remember his real name right now, but I would always call him by his real name because I found out what it was. But he'd go by No Doubt, maybe because he'd always be like, "Ha, no doubt." So that's kind of where that came from. But he would steal stuff from people all the time, and he would fight people all the time. He even tried to fight me one time. We're friends, which is so funny. But anyway, shouts out to No Doubt. If you are alive, respect, brother. I know that life has been tough for you. So
life is hard.
Life is hard, and yeah. I think when we growing up in Spokane, when we under the freeway, under the skate park, you hung around a lot of people of all walks and shapes. And
under the freeway, it does seem like it would be a
troublesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they shut the skate park down. There was a skate park called UTF under the freeway.
They shut the skate park down in Paradise too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Why? Was it because of
just nefarious behavior?
And that's messed up. It's messed up because
but I will
say there's
people,
nefarious behavior.
A lot of people in your line of sport can be definitely some hooligans.
There's definitely and I'm not going to disagree with that. Skateboarding definitely has a bit of a punk rock
culture,
a bit of a punk rock kind of vibe to it, where it's a little rebellious and little hooligan shenanigans and stuff. But here's what I want to say: that it's unfortunate that happens to so many skate parks, because there's a lot of heroin, like there's a lot of heroin being like shot up and smoked at that skate park. There's a lot of
that seems hard to skate.
Well, those people weren't skating; they were in the corner. But yeah, it's not what ultimately. It's unfortunate that a place for someone to go often skate parks are often being shut down for that kind of stuff, and it's unfortunate because I know that for me, a skate park basically saved my life. So it's unfortunate that
when you say saved your life,
it was a place where I was going instead of killing myself.
Got it.
So there's it's unfortunate that people who are having toxic lives, and that is one of the few public places they can go and hang out all day and not have any anybody come up to them with problems, it's unfortunate that that's where they go.
I mean, there's still a lot of problems. I'm sure there are fights.
Lots of fights too.
And, if there's drugs being done, then there's probably some overdoses.
There's maybe some overdoses, and some gypsy shenanigans. A lot of jipping, which is respect.
I stole a pack of gum once.
You stole a pack of gum?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of gum?
Probably bubble.
Well, just the pink stuff.
Probably, yep.
Was it the one in the roll? Do you remember that one?
No. Yeah, I do remember
that. Too much gum.
No. Yeah, no, it was just like, this one's shape.
I know which one you're talking about. Classic. Yeah, I think it was called bubble gum.
Yeah, I stole it. I was with my uncle, and I was very, very small. And I just put it under my shirt and walked out of the store.
Did you have a bunch of kids kind of come up and talk? I don't know. Did you bring people with you? I brought, James and I would kind of do missions together. My uncle. Okay.
And when we got out to the car, he said, "What's under your shirt?" And I showed him. And then he took me back into the store. And this is where it's going to sound like I'm making this story up.
Okay, go on, continue.
In my memory, there was a policeman in the store.
I don't believe this at all.
Maybe he was just the manager of the grocery store. Maybe he was a security guard. To me, he looked like a police officer.
Okay. Was he in police uniform?
To me, he was in a police uniform.
It sounds like a police officer.
But I was also a very small child.
Okay.
And he was a man that I didn't know.
Okay.
And he was very authoritative.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle must have said a thing or two to him, because he bent down and he held my little hand and he said, "The next time you steal, I will cut off every one of your little fingers one by one."
Wow. I would have that man thrown in jail.
Well, my uncle didn't do that. He instead told me, "When we get home, we're going to wash your mouth out with Tabasco sauce."
Did he wash your mouth out with Tabasco?
No. That's where the punishment stopped, is just the threats.
God. How old were you?
Well, not in school yet, not in kindergarten. So, a little, I don't know, 4.
That isn't even considered stealing.
But hey, I never stole ever again.
But you didn't even steal. You just didn't know that you had to pay for stuff because you're too young to understand.
I knew I was stealing. I hid it under my shirt.
It wasn't that's just not where you keep your gum?
No.
Okay, well, some people have certain spots for stuff.
No, I mean, my hand was under my shirt. I was, it was pretty obvious.
Okay, well, maybe that's how you held it. Okay, well, regardless, a full-size man,
yeah,
in a uniform or not, should never tell a little child on his knees that if it happens again, and this isn't even his kid.
But that's what I'm saying, is my uncle probably told him to say something like that to me.
Here's the thing. I don't care who tells who. You do not tell that to a little kid.
This is my same uncle who...
With the watches?
No, not that uncle. This is an uncle who's done a lot of ripping off people.
So you've done a little, ripping off in a respectable manner?
No, I don't want to get into details, but, maybe, I don't know, starts a job for somebody.
Okay.
Takes all the money.
Yeah.
Because he's going to, build him a house.
Yeah.
And then just doesn't finish the job, but has the money.
Okay.
That kind of a thing.
And then does the house ever end up getting built up?
No.
Okay, so I see where that goes.
So...
that's really
or
kind
not to the place where the buyer
is happy with it.
Yeah, or expected even.
Right.
Definitely didn't meet their expectations. And this is one of my favorite uncles. I mean, I love the guy. Yeah. Great personality, very charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Has seen Bigfoot.
Saw Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he saw Bigfoot. He was...
Where's this uncle live?
This uncle is in Humboldt County.
Without question, yeah, he's up there.
And anyway, so my point of he probably said, "Hey, look, this is a path that I've gone down, this thievery. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stop her here."
Mm-hmm.
He knows, hey, I do a lot of ripping people off, but I don't want my little niece to begin innocent. The same. So... he probably had the cop or the pretend cop or whatever he was, say this to me.
It still makes me upset. Here's the thing. It's if someone is training for a line of work, you do not tell that person they cannot do that or their fingers will be removed. That's all I want to say. If someone is training to better themselves in a certain field, you do not have the authority as an unparent of that individual to tell them if they ever do it again, their fingers will be removed. They do not have that right. That's where I draw the line. And that is in concrete. Well, honestly, that story does get me a little bit excited and in a way of passion.
Yeah, you're riled up.
You could go ahead and say that. I didn't know. I guess maybe I knew that about you, but I didn't know. It's been a while since I've heard it, maybe. But it kind of pours a little refreshment over the. It's kind of like it's like pouring ice cold water over something that's very dehydrated.
If I'm dehydrated, I don't want ice cold water. I'd like a lukewarm so that my body is going to, take it in better and do what it needs with that.
Okay, then well then I said it wrong. So it's kind of like someone who's dehydrated and then pours electrolytes into their body. So it kind of revives them, gives them a little extra.
So you're saying that story
kind of
revived you?
Yes, in this
somehow.
relationship.
In this relationship,
it just kind of what it did was it. I don't want to say this because it's for the listeners. So I guess ultimately what I'm saying is I'll have to talk to you about it later.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've done things. It's like stealing a pack of gum. I've done drugs.
You have done drugs. I've seen you do them. I've actually given them to you myself.
I've gotten in physical fights.
You have gotten in a physical fight. I got in that fight that one time in school, which is probably the biggest moment in my 6th grade career, was when I punched that guy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm going to tell this for the listeners. And then we're going to keep this podcast going. So you guys, here's the deal. I grew up a small kid. Mm-hmm. I was a small, frail boy. And I wasn't, I wasn't the best looker. I was a bit of an ugly boy. Just wasn't gifted with looks. Ultimately, when I was really young, and not to say that I have them now, but at least now I'm more confident. But basically, I would get bullied a lot when I was little, and because of a small and ugly, and I had really no friends. So this one time, we were in 6th grade. Basically, we were in 6th grade, and I had at this time acquired some, a small handful of friends. And basically, it was before school. It's during 6th grade. So it's like the before recess, before school starts. Do you know what I'm talking about? You didn't go to regular school, so you don't.
I went to like 14 different schools. So yes, at some points I went to regular schools.
Okay, well, there's no need to get defensive. It wasn't an insult, and I love you. Here's what I'm going to say. So it's a before recess part, before school starts. So we're all playing basketball. And, back it up a little bit. Basically, this new kid comes to town. A new kid come to school. His name's Tony. His name's Tony Garver.
Why? Now you're going to have to...
I can say his name.
You cannot.
I can. Because this guy he's in jail. Okay. This guy is never going to have he's never going to be free. And I say that with all due respect.
I still don't know if you're allowed to say his name.
Okay, well, regardless, we'll say this guy is not that name, and even though I've said it, and we'll say his name is, we'll go with Tony, but we'll say his last name is Gardner. But Garver, if you want to look it up. But Tony had been bullying me specifically for probably a few weeks. New kid in town, coming to, he lived like a couple blocks from me. So there had been times where I had been outside skateboarding, and he had pedaled his bike through like my neighborhood, and this one time in particular, I was outside skateboarding. He came by on his bike and he started talking some shit to me. And I didn't, I guess I start talking shit back. But then he starts pushing me. We start getting to a little push fight. And he pushes me down in front of my own house and stuff, which is kind of embarrassing. It's like, this is my own, this is my castle. And, granted, I'm only in 6th grade, but still, you don't push a king down in front of his castle.
Yeah.
And, my stepdad saw it in the garage. He saw all this kind of go down. And then Tony pedaled off. And my stepdad, Bill, was like, yo, what was that about? What was that? And I was like, it's Tony. He's this new kid in town. And he's been bullying me, like, ever since. And he's like, well, first of all, it's bullshit. You do not let him do that to you ever again. And he said, if that kid ever lays a hand on you or does any of that bullshit again, you cock your fist back and you punch him as hard as you possibly can right in the face. And if he gets up, you keep punching. So I was like, okay, sure. I've never been in a fight before. The most I've ever done is wrestle.
Well, you're how old?
I'm in 6th grade, so okay. I'm like 11 or 12.
Yeah, not so crazy.
No. And but all I've ever done is just wrestle with my stepdad. So that's basically the only defense I've known, and punch him in the side of the arm. But like coincidentally, the next day at school, this is back. So that's just a little before story. Now we're to the point now. We're now at the before recess part, and I've had the talk with my dad the day before, and Tony comes up and steals our basketball in the middle of the game, and as he takes the ball, we're like, Tony, give us the ball. He's like, no, I'm not taking the ball. I'm not giving the ball back. I'm not giving the ball. And then it was almost as if God had parted everybody on the court like the sea, like the Red Sea, whatever that story was. Because then it was just me and Tony on the court and everyone else was on the side. And he's not giving the ball back. And I was like, I guess this is it. And so I just walked right up to him and I cocked my hand back as far as I possibly could. And I hit that kid as hard as I possibly could hit him right in the face. And I mean, he flew like 30 feet or something.
Whoa. And
yeah, it was really far and just didn't get up. And then after a couple minutes, he got up and was like, what? His glasses were broken. I broke his glasses. And he got up all disoriented and he was like, and I don't say disoriented to be like, oh, I got him good. I don't know that I even hit him that hard. I was 12 years old. How hard could I really hit him? Except for I leveled that dude. And he thought he came up to me and he's like, yo, who hit the ball in my face? And I was like, dude, I punched you in the face. He's like, why did you punch me in the face? I was like, you fucking stole our basketball. You've been bullying me for months. And by this time, the duty, and I don't mean that in a poop reference.
Oh, I thought you meant.
No, duty. I mean in like a recess guard.
Yard duty.
Yard duty. What do you call a groundskeeper kind of for school?
No, just yard duty.
Yard duty. Well, that sounds actually like dog shit, to be honest. So let's just call her, she was the duty in charge. She was the woman who was watching the children during the recess before school. Mm-hmm. She basically got the whole situation. She came in and intervened and whatever. And then what happened was, the principal brought me in, and the principal brought in, no. So what happens is, that's it. Basically, we get in trouble. They send us home for the day. That night, around 9:30 at night, a doorbell rings at our house. It's like we get a knock on the door. I know I said a doorbell. We get a knock on the door. And I'm in bed at this point, but Bill answers it. It's 2 cops. And they're asking, is Lance Paullin available? And Bill says, yes, what does this have to do with? And he goes, there was an altercation at school today. We'd just like to have a few words with him. And Bill said, yeah, there was an altercation because there was a kid who'd been bullying my kid. And so my kid put him in line. And my kid is now in bed at 9:30 at night. He's got school in the morning. You're not going to ask him any questions tonight. If there's any questions you have, I can answer them. Basically, that was kind of it. The next day, we have to have a sit down with me and my mom and Bill, and then Tony and his parents. and basically let them know. I whacked the mic there.
Getting so excited.
I get so excited when I talk about the story. We have a conversation, and basically they apologize. Their kid is out of line. They don't know how to get a hold of the kid. He's a crazy dude, and that was basically it. So then we handled business. Basically, Tony ends up getting kicked out of school shortly after, and goes to a different school. Fast forward 8 years from the time that happened.
Okay, so you're 18?
Yeah. So I'm like
8 years.
8 years. So I'm
like
probably
20.
20.
Okay.
Tony is wanted. I get a call from one of my roommates at the time, and he goes, "Yo, you remember that Tony you hit in 6th grade?" And I said, "Of course, I will never forget the biggest moment of my life." Mm-hmm. And he said, "He's on a billboard right now. He's wanted by the police." Because Tony's wanted by now Tony is wanted by the police because he's tried to blow up a federal building in downtown Spokane, like a homemade bomb kind of thing. And
how did they know that?
And granted, I know this is going to sound like I'm making the story up. I don't have the actual details of how they knew that it was him, except for they caught him. Oh, this is because they caught him with explosive in his backpack.
Do you know what the building was?
I don't know. It was one of the federal buildings in downtown Spokane.
Okay.
And then also there's like a pride parade going on around this time. He's also trying to cause havoc at that too. So basically the police get a hold of this dude, and they lock him up. Basically, he goes to trial or whatever. They commit him to a psychiatric ward. So now Tony is, he's deemed psychotic in a psych ward, and he's there for, a couple of years or something. And then he and this other dude escape from the psych ward.
Where is the psych ward?
It's in Spokane.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
So he's right there.
He's right there. And escape from the psych ward. And then Tony's going around, and he actually he stabs this poor gal and like kills her. He stabs her to death.
Who?
Just some random civilian, like some random chick. It was nothing with like an intent of like, oh, you fucked me over, I'm going to kill you. He was just in a rampage of like getting the fuck out of there and kind of fucking losing his mind. Stabs her, and then goes home to his parents' house. Basically tells his parents, "Hey, I'm home," kind of thing. And immediately his parents call the police and say, "Hey, my son is here." And then they get him and lock him up or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so he's all locked up now.
Okay.
And committed to hopefully a safer psychiatric ward.
So he's in prison, or he's in a psych ward?
I mean, I would think he's got to be somewhere behind bars.
I would hope so.
I mean, I would like to think he's probably in a psych ward, if not definitely prison, in a psych ward. But anyway, I just say all that because I was the guy who punched that guy. I was a guy who did justice in the best way that I could. I mean, yeah, I guess I do think that it's definitely validated, and I thank you for that. But yeah, anyway, kind of got off trail.
Yeah.
But what a fun story to tell. But also rest in peace to that poor gal, and
yes.
And my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family.
Yeah, that's awful.
But yeah, super crazy. Spokane can be kind of crazy sometimes.
I guess so. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't even know how
we got there.
I got a lot of leg. Got a lot of leg going today. I don't know, you guys on the podcast can't tell, but I do got a lot of leg showing. And let's get right into it. I think it is the time for the Mischa Learns Stuff. I got the Celsius coursing through my veins.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. Live Fit, Live Free. Again, this podcast is not sponsored by Celsius. Live Fit. But God, it's powerful stuff. God, it's like cocaine. But but not, because it's actually packed with, and we're going to go into the Mischa Learn stuff, but
Take all the time you need.
I just want to take a moment. I haven't said anything about this. It's not my normal, but here's what I want to say. And this Celsius made me think of it because I said it's like cocaine. Cocaine is a very dangerous drug. And we obviously, we all know that. And all drugs can be dangerous if taken irresponsibly. And I'm not telling you to not take drugs. I would be the first to actually tell you to take them. But what I want to say is that if you are going to take drugs, please take them responsibly. Test your stuff. Test your products.
And where can you buy
You can buy your test at a company called Dance Safe. If you on Instagram, Dance Safe, I think it's dancesafe.com or dancesafe.org. You can buy home test kits for every drug, so you know what drugs you're taking when you're taking them. They're a lot of fun to do, but they're very fucking dangerous, and it's not something to be taken lightly. I remember in school people going to the hospital for heat exhaustion from taking ecstasy and not hydrating at like dances and stuff. And granted, I wasn't taking drugs then, but I've definitely been in a situation where I've had someone near and dear to me, have close to an overdose because we weren't necessarily aware of everything that was inside of it. And I just want to say that it is a terrifying experience, and I can't stress it enough. Test your drugs. That's all I want to say. Continue with this week's Mischa Learns Stuff. Love it.
I was in the grocery store.
With Jonah Hill?
No,
that was in Santa Monica. Different. Who did you see that was in a grocery store?
I've seen a lot of people in grocery stores.
Oh, it's Miley Cyrus.
I've seen Miley Cyrus. I've seen Jessica Simpson. I guess that's all I can think
God,
of.
if you saw both of them at the same time, I would just say, God, what a concert. That would be a concert to be at.
Yeah.
Continue, because this is the Mischa Learn stuff. This is your segment.
So I'm in the grocery store on Saturday buying ice. And
just like this week, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And what song is on the radio? But where have all the Cowboys gone? Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying to.
Paula Cole.
What's the song?
Let me think.
It's full circle already with the Spurs
about Cowboys
and the Cowboys.
I know that is funny.
But what is the song? How does the song go? Where have all the Cowboys gone? If you're the listener right now, sing it out loud. So
I'll do all the dishes if you pay all the bills.
Okay, keep going.
Where is my John Wayne? Where is my prairie song? Where is my lonely ranger?
Where have all the Cowboys gone? Okay. Yeah.
Hippie-yah, hippie-yay.
Yes, I remember.
Hippie-yay, hippie-yah, hippie-yay.
Okay, now I hate the song. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. Yes, very good. Yes, I am familiar with the song. That is a good song. It's a really good song.
It's a good
Great in the 90s.
Ah, so good. Yeah.
God, was that the Cranberries?
No, it was Paula Cole.
Sorry, you said that already. Paula Cole. Cool.
Yeah.
And respect to Paula Cole.
So I was like, what's up with Paula Cole? Where did she go?
Where did all the Paula Cole go?
Yeah, and so I wanted to do a little research on her.
What's she up to?
Well, so
and shouts to Paula if you're listening to the podcast. Huge fan.
Yeah, she's
huge
great.
fan. Huge fan. I don't know that I know any other song.
Yeah, you do.
Do I? What's the other? What's the name of the other
one? Hold on. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. I just want to know how would it be.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just respect to Paula Cole. Continue.
So that album with those songs on it.
Yep.
I think it was called This Fire or something Fire.
Okay.
That was out in 1996. 1997, big year for Paula Cole.
97?
97. 98, she's at the Grammys. She
Oh, wow.
She performs, and she's like won Best New Artist. She's beat out Fiona Apple.
Oh, wow.
And several others I can't remember. But at the Grammys, she performs "Where Have All the Cowboys Gone," and she's got just pit hairs out.
Oh, really?
And
progressive.
And she flips off. She flips the bird.
So I'm just getting my shoes off here. Sorry, just taking my shoes
They're
off.
very heavy.
Sorry,
shoes.
guys. I know that's loud. I'm just taking off my shoes.
She flips the bird.
Oh, no
at some
kidding.
point during her performance. It all seems to like she gets a lot of negative press for her performance for some reason. I don't know if it was the middle finger.
Interesting.
I think already her music was a little like people would either love it or hate it.
Right.
But she really she didn't want to be that sort of center of attention. Apparently she's already an introverted person.
Okay.
And fame wasn't really, I guess,
was what she was looking for.
Was what she was looking for. And that was
she's
just
looking for Cowboys. Really?
I guess she was looking for Cowboys.
Right.
So that just things just didn't go well after that.
And is it specifically that Grammy performance that did it?
It seems like that was a pivotal moment.
Wow.
For some silly reason, I don't know. And then she kind of she just sort of I think raises her daughter for the next 8 years, kind of focuses on that.
Well, you kind of have to at some point. You have to raise one. If you have one.
Well, yeah, I think she just sort of focuses on that, though, and is not so much about the music.
Mm-hmm.
But so she was with a record label before this record.
Mm-hmm.
They went under. I forgot what they were called. They went under. And then Warner Brothers, which I didn't even know had a record label. But
Warner Brothers has a huge.
Okay.
They're Warner.
I guess I don't really pay attention to
Warner Music is what it's called.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a huge company.
So then now she with that album, with her very, very popular album,
mm-hmm.
she's with Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And making the album, for one, apparently is like it's not going well.
Oh, really?
They've like put money into it. She feels like the money's just being blown. She goes in the office and is basically like, look, all that wasted money, that's, can't do anything with that.
Right.
Give me the money. Let me make this album.
Right.
Without, all of your influence.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just make this album. And they let her.
Oh, wow.
And then, later there was, of course, some naysayers, but later she got to, she said she never even got to say that I told you so because she was too busy working.
Oh, wow.
She was very busy. Obviously, because she got very popular very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, the record blows up. I saw her at the Lilith Fair. I went to the Lilith Fair twice.
Where's that?
Lilith Fair was Sarah McLachlan's traveling concert. Do you remember that?
God,
She had Jewel on there. She had Tracy Chapman. It was always women.
Gosh, what a good bunch.
What's that singer who sings the... She
She
was there?
That's in I Dream of Jeannie. It's the theme song. I think that it is every time. I want it to be.
It's not.
She's living in
Yeah,
a
that's
bottle.
not.
She is a tiny genie, and she is a genie, and it is okay to call her that, and it will not get you canceled because fuck you, PC culture. Didn't they say that, something like that?
Nah, that's not the song.
Oh, sorry, different song. Continue.
So she went to Lilith Fair, having a very successful career. I know
Yeah.
I kind of backtracked there, but I just kind of wanted to.
But I just want to say powerhouses. Tracy Chaps.
Oh, yeah.
Jewel.
Yep.
God damn it, Jewel.
Oh, yeah.
And beautiful voice.
Yeah, and Sarah McLachlan with the
And Sarah
depressing
always.
music.
Yeah, and the puppies.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I went there twice because
That's cool.
I was living with some lesbians at the time.
And that's what you do when you live with lesbians. You
That
go
is-
and listen to Tracy. You listen to a lot of Tracy Chapman.
You listen to a lot of other lesbian singers.
Yes, and you wear Birkenstocks.
I didn't have any Birkenstocks. I was very young.
Can I tell you one thing right now? I guarantee you Tracy was wearing them.
I don't
know
know.
it.
I couldn't see her feet. We were back in the
Tracy is a Boston Birkenstock wearer. I know it.
Okay. Well, So back to Paula Cole.
Paula Cole.
So yeah, after that performance, things just, I don't know if it happens immediately or what, but just that kind of was her career spiked,
Right.
and then kind of fizzled, and that maybe the part of that was her choosing to, because like she didn't like the attention, she didn't like the fame.
Maybe she was like, "Oh, this is not what I'm looking for."
She seems to have said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, I know that there's a car driving by.
I'm so sorry, you guys, if it's a little, if you're wondering what that kind of weird vibrating sound is, well, what happens is every day at 2:00, one of our neighbors goes to McDonald's and she gets her little Happy Meal.
Okay.
And
then she comes home. Now she's driving by.
And what she's doing right now is she's having her Happy Meal.
Okay. So
we're about to have her Happy Meal.
So one of Paula Cole's songs, the second one we were singing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want our lives to be over. Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes the Dawson's Creek theme song.
Is it really?
Yeah. So
when was Dawson's Creek?
1998 to 2003.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now, she's got her song, and that's a Dawson's Creek on WB.
You don't even need to say it.
So,
but I'm glad that you did for all the. But
it makes sense
the
now.
Gen Zs.
It makes sense why her record label is Warner Brothers, Dawson's Creek, WB. Now they're using her song as that
makes sense.
That's the theme song to Dawson's Creek. But then in any in the video releases of Dawson's Creek, and then even like any of the streaming of Dawson's Creek, it's been a different song.
Really?
It's been a different song because she wasn't getting any money. And she was like, they can't just like play the song for free.
So they were just playing the song for free?
They're just trying to, well, I'm sure she had a contract then, something that expired, but she did not have a contract for streaming. I mean, we never even knew that was going to be a thing.
A thing about it.
So they have not been using that song now for however long this show's been streaming. But this month, a few days ago, Paula Cole, she re-recorded the song so that she can have the rights to it. And she worked out a deal with Netflix or whoever.
Yeah.
And now the song is back being the theme song when you tune into Netflix and watch Dawson's Creek.
No
After all of these years, the song is back. So fans who were like diehard fans of Dawson's Creek, I was not one of them, could be very excited because it's like this was like the original song.
I feel like, obviously being an actor is hard and comedian's hard, but I feel like musicians, man, have got to be, they get fucked over the most.
Seems that way.
I mean, it seems like they're always in these weird contractual things where
they're not actually making
they don't
money.
have any money and they don't have any rights to the stuff that they're making.
TLC was like always broke.
Right. Well, and you got also like the I can't think of who it was who I'm thinking of in this moment, but yeah, man, so many people. Oh yeah, it's not coming to my head. I can think of her, but I can't think of her name. But yeah, that's crazy how like it makes you be like, oh no, I think I'm good on this. I'll just play this guitar by myself.
Yeah, and she's, she doesn't like the fame so much anyway.
Right.
So now she's working on another album, or no, this album released in the last few years, but I think it's her most recent. It's called Ballads, and I think it's just like her doing like jazz covers.
Oh wow!
Because apparently she always wanted to be a jazz singer. The reason she got into that sort of alternative poppy stuff is because she also really enjoyed writing songs. She like wrote those songs, I believe. And so she also wanted to be a songwriter, so she ended up doing that. But and then she's had her diehard fans the whole time who have been with her, and they all sort of I think through a Kickstarter, they helped raise the money for her last album. Yeah, that's
so cool.
Yeah, and now she's more so living the life I think she wants to live.
She's now living her life.
And she's like in her 50s. This was obviously forever ago in the 90s.
Right.
But
well, let's not say forever ago because that does really kind of make it feel like we're about to be dead.
And time flies by and we all die.
Positive way positive way to look at this this moment.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where she is.
Wow.
And she's hopefully doing well. You know, she really loves her daughter. Biggest accomplishment of her life. Best moment of her life, or something like that.
The daughter?
The daughter.
That's what people say when they have kids.
Yeah. I wish I knew.
And we'll go ahead and continue on to the next segment of the show. That is wow, crazy.
Anyway.
Just makes me want to listen to some of those songs as soon as this podcast is over. I'll tell you that.
Something like when you get me ready in your 56 Chevy, why don't we go sit down in the shade?
Is that another one of hers?
Shelter on my front porch, dandelion sun scorch. Would you like a glass of cold lemonade?
See, I don't remember that.
I will do the dishes. That's just the first one.
Oh,
you pay all the
bills.
Where
yes,
is my
right,
John
right.
Wayne?
Where did I hear your song? Yep.
You're
right.
Happy ending.
Where did all... Then we'll stop singing it now because otherwise the listeners are just not going to be interested.
Oh, sorry.
So
I forgot. I kind of
got
lost.
We have people listening. So, wow. That was heavy stuff this
heavy
episode.
Bangs.
Heavy
Even.
bangs. Well, that was just really fascinating.
Fascinating.
That was really fascinating stuff about her. And I'm glad that she is living her best life now.
Me too.
Great.
Motivational speech of the day.
Yeah, just that time to, what are you thinking?
Hooves.
Hooves. Hooves. I know we were talking about getting around earlier today and talking about doctors and hospitals and stuff. You know, it's important to protect your feet because there are tons of sharp rocks on the ground. There's also sticks. And depending on where you live in certain areas, there are broken glass and sharp aluminum cans that have been kind of crushed up and ran over that are kind of in really the side of the road where you would get out of your car and maybe step. And if you're barefoot, you're going to puncture this skin. It's rough out there. It's rough out there. And that is why you protect your feet. You put something on the bottom of your feet so you can have protection. So you can get out of your car to CVS and not worry about having to get a Band-Aid inside because you stepped on some broken glass on the outside of the building because someone had broken into a car the night before, and you didn't realize that because you weren't there and you just happened to pull into the spot. It was the only one available. And that's why there's not a lot. Here's the thing. You're going to get cut up. You're going to get bruised up. You're going to get beat up. You're even going to get a stubbed toe. It's just the way life is. It's what it serves you. It serves us all sorts of spaghetti. It serves us all sorts of hummus. And it even will serve us some meat dishes sometimes. But that may not be what we're really into. But I don't know what we have to do with it because we're already at the restaurant. But that's why it's important to wear shoes, because otherwise, a lot of times you won't even be able to go inside our restaurants unless you have proper feet on. Your proper feet on, and you want your feet on because if you don't have your feet on, you're probably rolling in there because you're in a wheelchair, and you're probably in a wheelchair because you didn't really protect your feet or your legs properly before the accident, whatever caused you to be in the wheelchair. And if you are in a wheelchair, I just want to say respect you, and respect your feet. And I'm glad that your feet are protected by the formalities of your chair. And I want to let you know that I will protect you by protecting my feet, and I will walk on this broken glass for you, so you don't have to. Because I also know that could I could potentially pop a tire in your chair or whatever. And I'm just here to help you get around if you need help. And if you don't, then I'm not here. But ultimately, what I want you guys to do is to look out for needles. And, there's a lot of heroin on the streets today. There's a huge opioid epidemic. There's opioid epidemic. There's a big
epidemic.
Okay, well, there's a big epidemic surge of heroin needles and apparently fentanyl cocaines, and ultimately you cannot walk on that stuff because it will get into your system. So what you need to do is you need to protect your feet and wear your shoes. Right now, currently, I have a pair of sneakers that are coming in the mail. They should be here probably a couple of days, and they'll be here so I can wear those outside and so I can protect my feet. Because I've lived next to heroines before who've used the drugs, and we've lived next to heroines. Frankie was a heroine, and we've lived next to cocainers, and ultimately the ground is filthy. I cannot sweep enough stuff off of the ground while also living around these people. And I'm not currently living around these people, but I'm saying I've lived around them before, and I have had to sweep so much stuff off of the ground that I just decided I've no longer left my apartment, and it created a depression. And ultimately, is that where you want to live? Do you want to live in a depression? Do you want to kill yourself? I don't want you to kill yourself. Don't do it. If you're even thinking about doing it right now, don't do it. Don't even think about it. Stop it. Don't let those thoughts happen. Those are not you. Those are different thoughts. You're not identified with those thoughts. Those are just coming and going. You don't have to attach yourselves to them, but I do need you to attach something to the bottom of your feet for life. You do that for me, I'll do it for you. God bless. Thank you for listening to another episode. Thank you. Good night. Heavy bang over and out.